The government and all relevant stakeholders are expected to ensure reasonable accommodation and meaningful inclusion for persons in each category by addressing their specific needs. This video will explore specific cases of adaptations or advancements necessary for the meaningful inclusion of three categories: persons with disabilities with hearing impairment, persons with short stature, and persons with visual impairment. In their commitment to fostering innovation and flexibility, the Ministry of Labour, Gender and Social Development actively monitors and documents the daily experiences of persons with disabilities. The focus is on gaining insights into their challenges and identifying obstacles to promote meaningful inclusion. Joel Musana personifies the condition of having a shorter stature, marked by a height well below the average of his peers. It was during this exploration that we closely observed how Joel copes with tasks such as using the ATM machines and accessing places of convenience, among others.
You find that when you go to the bank, you want to access the ATM machine, you find that the level at which the ATM machine is placed is so high that I cannot reach, or any other little person not reach, whereby you will need maybe a help, and whereby that help, you don't know the person who is coming to help is a stranger, because you don't know where he's coming from, his attitudes, but he's coming to help you. So security wise, you are not safe. Another thing is that when you decide that maybe let me use the counter, you find that the counter also, there is no way you can write, and we have mobility challenges. Standing becomes a problem. If you take a decision to use the online banking is so expensive that it takes almost all the money. See, when you go to the places of convenience, you go there, you decide to go to maybe the toilet or the washrooms, you find that the urinals where they are placed, they are so high. Even those on which they say that maybe they are somewhere at a lower level, they cannot hold us. They are high according to our level, so they are not on the standard. So you find yourself being affected in that way.
Beyond those with short stature, we interacted with a person with visual impairment to comprehend their obstacles and the ways in which they manage their day-to-day activities. One person we conversed with was Chiyemba Stephen, and our discussion with him centered on achieving meaningful inclusion, specifically concentrating on how he navigates non-talking lifts, talking lifts, non-talking calculators, talking calculators, the absence of the guide, and whether he can really access them as required.
My name is Chiyemba Stephen. Some of the challenges that I face as a person with disability: most buildings have lifts, but those lifts are not accessible. Accessible in a manner that they don't talk, because as a person with visual impairment, I deal with audio. For me to easily navigate the lift, I have to press the buttons. It directs me what to do. So those lifts that talk are not available on most buildings. Then also many compounds have holes. For example, if I'm moving around in most compounds, I have to move around with my guide. So such things make me a slave to my guide. Secondly, barriers in the world of technology. Limited access to assistive technology. For example, as a person with visual impairment, to use a computer, that computer must be talking. So most softwares, they are available in markets, but they are restricted. If I'm to install a software in my computer, I have to get someone who is trained in that, who is an expert in that software to unlock it so that I can use it. So that makes it hard for me to access the information.
The Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development has a responsibility of providing support and assistance to persons with disabilities. They have undertaken this task to some extent, and during our interaction with Emmanuel Yeka, the Acting Principal Information Tech at the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Information Technology, he elaborated on the various types of equipment that the ministry has successfully provided to the people with disabilities.
Assistive technologies have been categorized in three areas, but mostly we we've intervened in two areas. There are those that are for hearing impairments, where the person maybe cannot hear at all. So there's technology around that. I think we've seen the hearing aids. There are vibrators, for example. Like in the morning as you wake up, your alarm will go off and you hear, but a PWD may not hear that. So there are those that vibrate, and a person can be able to schedule themselves and plan their day with such vibrators. Then there are visual assistive technologies for those that are totally blind, someone that cannot see, and there are those who are also partially blind, and these are the most common, and there's a lot of software on the market, part of which we use here in the ministry. Number one, to help with text to speech. So for example, if you have visual issues and you cannot read your email, there's software that can read it for you and you simply listen. For example, this is an email that has been sent. So you simply open it and you're able to listen to it.
Join Zoom meeting. https://zoom.us/j/936 pwd =.
Then there's also software to help you view some of the texts more clearly, especially in terms of the magnification, so that you're able to navigate around your laptop as you work easily. Then there's also keyboards for people that have issues with typing. They are the digital based ones that can allow them to easily type out or even speak to the computer, and their speech is translated to text. Then for the totally blind, of course, there's Braille. That is common technology that is used. It's not entirely an ICT software, but it helps them to get a feel of text on a surface, and they're able to read whatever message perhaps could have been communicated.
However, despite the overall smooth execution of this task facilitated by advancements in IT equipment, challenges have risen for the ministry, particularly in the realm of supply and scarcity of resources tailored for persons with disabilities. Mr. Yeka pointed out some obstacles that are hindering the seamless advancement of the project.
As a ministry in charge of persons with disabilities, we faced a number of challenges. One of the bigger challenges has been the cost of IT or assistive technology for persons with disability. They come at quite a high cost, the software and both the hardware.
We had the opportunity to converse with the State Minister for Disability Affairs overseeing matters related to people with disabilities. She emphasized that Uganda excels in legislative efforts with comprehensive laws in place.
As far as legislation is concerned, I think Uganda tries to be almost on top of the game. One, we have the Act 2020, which Act pronounces how duty bearers can give services to people with disabilities, including what they call reasonable accommodation, to enable them be part and parcel of the development process.
The minister urged Ugandans to review persons with disabilities as capable contributors to society. She emphasized that disability can affect anyone at any time, highlighting the importance of recognizing these persons as equals. The minister called for embracing and supporting them, advocating for the removal of barriers to ensure they can enjoy life to the fullest, just like anyone else.
That people with disabilities are part of the Ugandan population, and they can contribute like any other person in the population if they have been given that opportunity, if the barriers are broken. So my view to the people out there, let us look at disabled people as people who can be able to do some work. And again, disability is not destined for one person. You can get disability at any age of yours. So it's not really a village that there are disabled people who have been packed here, and then now we can say, okay, that is for them. So those barriers, if removed, then we know that disability is not a very big issue in the country.
Uganda is a signatory to the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Uganda recently approved the African Union Protocol on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, Article 32 and 35 of the Constitution. The 2020 PWDs Act and other laws compels government to provide for affirmative action and disability inclusive. The government has made significant strides in fostering meaningful inclusion for persons with disabilities across various sectors, including politics, economics, health, education, and information and communication technology. Let's join forces and extend our support to ensure that people with disabilities can lead fulfilling lives just like any other category of the population.